Welcome back to the Lakeside Productions YouTube channel. For anybody new to my channel, I am repairing a 1940 40-foot seaplane tender which is constructed of double diagonal mahogany and oak ribs. Continuing with the work on the hull, I am using a makeshift reefing hook here to remove any of the old Sikaflex caulking. This was done over 30 years ago and it still holds strong in places. I found both a mix of Sikaflex and old white lead putty in the seams. Once I removed all the old caulking from the seams, I hit them with the blowtorch. I did a few passes with the blowtorch just to remove any old moisture that might be there in between the seams and guarantee a good bond then once I go and re-caulk using Sikaflex. But I made sure then to brush in wood hardener just with a small 1/2-inch brush, and I got wood hardener, a polyurethane wood hardener in there just to help with the bonding, and also it will help if there's any soft timber. It will definitely guarantee it's nice and hard. And of course I had to drop the reefing hook into the water, so once I had the swim shorts on, it was the perfect excuse to go for a quick swim before getting back to work. My father removed this aft section of the rubbing strake at the stern here, and it was just totally rotten, so we removed this, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to remove this entire mahogany plank section, this small area, and I'm going to scarf in a sheet of ply, and that way it'll just be sealed. I'm going to epoxy it in place and then ferrule, of course, and then we're going to replicate and replace this section of the rubbing strake.
He's not too bad.
Harder.
So after the last bilge pump failing, I went with this rule, 500 gallons per hour, 12 volt bilge pump. Of course, you can wire this in to a switch as well, or you can wire it just in directly, and that's what I've done. So it's automatic. It will check every 2.5 minutes for water and pump, and then it's, you know, only 0.20 amps. So it's a perfect bilge pump, and so far so good. Once the wood hardener had cured, I used the Marine Sikaflex 291i to recaulk all of the old seams. You can see, like, I'm pumping the handle of the Sikaflex gun far too much. You know, you should be getting a lot of Sikaflex out, but what happened was there was no strength in the handle and it bent. And yeah, normally these metal Sikaflex guns, or I mean caulking guns, they're normally very strong and heavy duty, but for some reason this one wasn't. You know, we just picked it up and it just broke, so that's unfortunate. Luckily I do have another spare, which I have now and can use for the remaining caulking that needs to be done on the far side, on the starboard side. Of course, this job is messy now. I had to cut open the Sikaflex tube in order to get it all. I didn't want to waste any, and I just made sure then to get that into the seams. And yeah, every bit of excess that was on each side of the seams I reused. The appropriate safety equipment is the most important. So we picked up this orbital sander by Stanley, and it works great for small areas, especially the areas of Sikaflex where, you know, I didn't mask the seams and we wanted to get that sanded down nice and neat. I just cut through that stuff real neat with 80 grit sandpaper, and that was perfect. So of course, you know, this was the day after I had caulked the seams, and realistically the Sikaflex is still curing. It can take up to a week for it to cure until it's, you know, really cured well. And I made sure to use the orbital sander here and not the belt sander, because for sure the Makita belt sander will, you know, be aggressive, and it may rip out Sikaflex at the seams. If you're not careful, you know, if you go too hard, it's just too intense and it will rip out the caulking. So just be aware of that when you're doing any of these jobs, guys. So that's all for this episode, guys. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please leave a like and do subscribe if you haven't subscribed already. If you feel like further supporting this project, I have a PayPal link in the description below there. And as always, guys, stay productive and have fun creating. I will see you in the next episode.